Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah rabbil alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, today we are moving forward to the next item on our framework, that is our positive Islamic psychology 6P, G and L. We have described the whole purpose and meaning in life, the first P, then how we are going to live in the now in terms of our own presence in our life and in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how we can be positively changed towards being an achiever. Then we have described about the next P, the third P, that is positive psychology. Then we talk about physical wellness, and then we talk about productivity, the fifth P, and the sixth P is, we say about this persuasion, but I have upgraded it to positive personal, social, societal and civilizational development. The next P, that is the sixth P, is a very big story. We cannot just say it's just persuasion, because as we develop the framework, we find that this is needed in the 21st century. And the next P that we are talking about before we're going to the L, that is love, is giving. So how are we going to describe this giving? What kind of personality we are developing as individual? Alright, what kind of personality we are developing in our social context, in our societal context, in our civilizational context. So this positive personal, social, societal and civilizational is linked to giving. And I'm going to describe to you how we have to change, because otherwise we'll face a very bleak future for ourselves, for our children, for our family, our generation to come, because the world cannot carry on as it is. Why? Alright, I will have to explain to you. So this is the G we are talking about, giving. A society that is based on giving. And how are we going to develop it? Alright, we are trying to develop a giving society versus a greedy society, because we know that this 21st century civilization, based on what? Atheism. The root cause of our problem today is we are believing that there is no creator. We are believing that this world has no meaning and no purpose. So the whole basis of this greedy society is based on atheism. So it's a very imbalanced situation, and we are moving towards civilizational destruction. Like it or not, we have to accept the fact that if we carry on business as usual, every day we do the same thing, pollute the air, destroy the crops, pump in more herbicide, pump in more pesticide, pump in more plastic, burn all the fossil fuel, rape the earth with all the minerals. What is the outcome? The outcome is a destruction of the whole society. The whole civilization that we are proud of will be just relics, just like we see as we go to Egypt, we see the relics of the pyramid. We go to many places in the world. What do you have? Just a remnant of a society in destruction and chaos. But those days we are talking about a society that is limited in terms of its impact to the world, because, for example, if the Egyptian civilization disappeared, then there will be another civilization somewhere. Alright? And as civilization rises and falls, we have come to the climax, because this world now is a global village. We are talking about a society that is global through all the ways and means of science and technology. We have now reached a level where this world is a global village. Whatever happened to us will happen to all of us. Today we have typhoon, hurricane, earthquake. We have all kind of disaster, man-made disaster, climatic change. All right, rising of the sea level, extreme drought, weather, extreme flood, and this is science. Who have done that? Allah tells us in the Quran, it's your own hand that create this destruction. So if we are going to transcend this 21st century to the 21st century to the 22nd century, moving along in a manner that is good and useful, we have to change. And change is not easy. Change is difficult. But inshallah, we do our bit. As Muslims, we must create this new society. How is this new society based? First and foremost, we must try to reframe the whole society, not based on theism, but based on what? Based on the belief in the Creator. Because this earth is a teeny weeny puny little earth, not even the size of one atom in the scheme of the physical universe. Imagine how small we are. So there's nothing to brag about, if you have, say, this technology that you can go to space, you can have suspended animation, you can have this, you can have that, but it is just not even an atom weight of knowledge endowed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to us. But if we are not careful, that knowledge can be the knowledge that will self-destroy this civilization. So that's why we must shift, because if there's no way, if we are continuing this atheistic philosophy, there's no way that we can create a giving society, because atheistic society is basically it's like a predator. It will come and eat you up, take you up. So we have what happened? An unjust and unequal society. So this society now is manifested everywhere in the world. We see the rich, the super rich getting richer and richer and richer. And 1% of the human population controls more than 80 to 90% of the resources of the world. This is sheer madness. And it will implode. Whether it will implode in another 20 years or 30 years, but definitely it's going to implode. And it has imploded in the past. As you look within human society based on atheism, we have this experiment on communism. What happened? It is self-destructive. Again, because of the atheistic philosophy, you create two classes of society. The bureaucrat become very, very rich, and the poor farmers just die of hunger. Whether it's in China, whether it's in Stalinistic Russia, the same story. So you have class of people, and they become an Orwellian society. Oppression based on millions and millions of people dying in Russia, in China. For example, the Great China, the Great Leap Forward. Instead of Great Leap Forward, more than 30 million Chinese die of hunger. Alright, so there are experiments not based on holistic principles of Al-Adil, because in Islam we talk about a just society, not an unjust society, and not an unequal society. We're not saying that everybody can be the same. That's why in Islam we have a via media, a very middle ground. We have the rich, but the rich will have to support the poor, so that no human being go hungry and no living things are habitat is being destroyed. So we have to have a viable middle ground, which we as Muslims, as Ummatul Awasatah, the middle ground, can bring this new idea of a giving society. So what we need to do is, first, we have to reframe the whole societal framework from atheism to a society based on the belief in Allah, in God, or if you want to call, for those new age people, in the universal energy or the universal goodness or whatever name they call it, it is just as good as calling God. Alright? We are not too bothered with the label, but if they can come back to that, then there are common ground between we Muslims who worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the one and only creator, and the other group that wants to bring a just world. We can work together to make this world a better world for us. So what is important is for us to understand that gross and crude capitalism as we know today cannot continue to be as it is. And as more and more people suffer this oppression, this Orwellian Big Brother scenario will come to a reality. Now we have all the social media, with all the artificial intelligences, software, they can track every individual on anywhere on the planet Earth at any moment. Now they can track me. They just open my Facebook, they open my WhatsApp or my Wazi, they can know where I am at. If they want to do anything, they can do. So this is a big Orwellian society, will slide into chaos and self-destruction if we are not careful. That's why it's important for Muslims to find our via media, to find our footing, to find our purpose and meaning, to be the Khalifah of Allah, to strive to make ourselves good, to help others to be good, and make the world good. So inshallah, if we can do that, we can change, totally shift this balance. This is a process. A giving society cannot just come out tomorrow. Alright, there are many, many things that we can see, because this unjust society is allowing things to happen. Today we see millions of our Rohingya brothers, Muslim brothers, that are being oppressed, genocide, ethnic cleansing at a massive scale. The Rohingya people used to be more than 3 million people in the Rakhine state. Today there's only left 1 million. And last week alone, more than 300,000 were shot out to go over to the Bangladeshi border. So what they do is pure and simple oppression, genocide, ethnic cleansing. But why is the world, the whole civilized, so-called civilized world, keeping quiet? Because whether it is the big corporation, the multinationals, they want the resources of Myanmar. So they don't care whether you die or whether there is genocide, whether there is oppression. They don't care. The whole idea is basically is just hypocrisy. They just put a face, yes, you know, this, that, and then publish a report, but they are not bothered. So this is a terrible society. It's happening on us, we Muslims now, but later on, it will happen to all human beings. Whether it's the European, whether it's the American, whether it's the Asian, we are all going to face the same problem of cross inequality based on hypocrisy, based on oppression, based on greed, because this greed have no limit. Once you have this greed, you become like Karun. The more you get, the more you want. The more you get, the more you want, until one day, this society will be swallowed by this earth. So if we are not careful, we are becoming partners to this destruction of this civilization in the 21st century. And it is pertinent for every single Muslim to realize that we can be the forces of change. Peaceful, useful change. We are not talking about doing something that is bad. We are talking about changing ourselves at a personal level. How can we be a giving personality? How can we create a giving family, a giving society, a giving civilization that the rest of the world will come and see? Yes, it can be done. And inshallah, we can lead the world, because within Islam we have the framework of Maqasid al-Sharia, which I will explain in next video, of how we can bring the guiding principles, the like of this deen, through Maqasid Sharia, which has been referenced by our great scholars more than 1,000 years ago. And we implement this Maqasid Sharia as a way forward, in which inshallah we will develop a just, a beautiful, a happy, peaceful, wonderful 21st century for all. And inshallah we Muslims would be the forerunner in creating this positive change, always striving to make ourselves good, helping others to be good, making the world good, so that we can have peace, happiness and success for all, inshallah.